बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं.
Jule. For those who understand this greeting, they will immediately understand that I am at Leh. For those who have not heard this word before, Jule is a greeting used by Ladakhis. I am in front of the Yarabso Hotel, Leh. Every year, thousands of tourists visit Ladakh from all over the world. For people who have no understanding of the Ladakhi culture or religion, visiting Ladakh will be restricted to admiring the beautiful landscapes of Ladakh. There is more to Ladakh than its picture postcard landscapes. Tourists will find it difficult to understand its monasteries, paintings, culture if they do not spend some time in understanding the religion of Buddhism before going to visit Ladakh. This video is an aid to helping people understand and enjoy their visit to Ladakh. This is not a travelogue but well-researched information about Buddhism of Ladakh and its culture. When you walk into a Tibetan Buddhist monastery, you will be struck by the innumerable deities and images that are depicted. Some ferocious and can induce a sense of fear, and some calm and serene. Making sense of what you see needs an understanding of Tibetan Buddhism and its pantheon of deities and gods. The Tibetan pantheon have been derived from various sources and is a very complex and amorphous collection. All attempts to categorize them have been futile. As visitors, it can be bewildering, and making sense of what you see can be near impossible, leaving a sense of confusion and disappointment if we do not understand what is depicted on the walls of these ancient monasteries. In this video, we will try to understand the deities and how to identify them when you visit a monastery at Leh, Ladakh, Tibet, Bhutan, Mongolia, China or Japan. These are places which follow the Tibetan style of Buddhism or Tantric Buddhism. The deities depicted in the monastery could be the serene and familiar to all Buddha Sakyamuni in the Gandhara style of architecture, recognizable immediately by the curly hair of Buddha. Historical figures like Padmasambhava, who established the Nyingma school of Tibetan Buddhism, Songchapa, who was given the title of Galwe Nispa or the second Buddha. He is considered one of the Manjushris of Tibet. As you walk along the silent corridors where hundreds before you have traversed, you will be able to admire the different ancient tankas of the monasteries. You will also be able to see the ferocious deities like Chakra Samvara and Vajra Bhairava.
Mani Padme Hum, 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 Mani Padme Hum.
In the Himalayan region of Ladakh, the Mahayana practice of Buddhism has been the spiritual foundation since the 7th and 8th century. Ladakh also had access to a unique discipline called tantric practice, which was due to the frequent visits and teachings of Indian masters and translations from Tibet. Hence, the region of Ladakh developed many unique monuments in the Gandhara style of architecture during a period known as the period of the kings. During the period of Lotsawa Rinchen Zangpo, 958 to 1055 CE, many enormous and impressive temples were constructed, such as Nairma Suglakhang, Choskor, and many stupas. Later, in the 14th century, the monasteries of Ladakh were constructed. These structures were embellished with paintings and murals which were symbolic in nature, depicting fundamental teachings of the Buddha and great philosophical masters. Many monuments were located in the royal palaces of the region. Contrary to general belief, Buddhism is not a religion of one deity. The religion has evolved over the centuries to include numerous deities, leading to the presence of a pantheon of deities. Buddhism has also been divided into various schools like other religions, each having its own unique teachings and followers. Without an understanding of this knowledge, it will be difficult to understand what is depicted in the wonderful monasteries of Leh and Ladakh. The following slide deck will take you through one school of Buddhism, that is Tibetan Buddhism. The information given has been researched from various sources and the references are mentioned. People interested to know more about the Tibetan Buddhism can refer to the books of various authors mentioned in the reference and learn more about the religion. The best way to use this resource is to take the photos of the slide on your mobile, and then when you visit the monasteries at Leh and Ladakh, you can compare and find out what is depicted in the walls of the monasteries. Let us have a look at the pantheon of Tantric Buddhism. Before we visit the various deities, a brief understanding of the schools of Buddhism will assist us in this journey. There are mainly two schools of Buddhism. One is the Hinayana or the Theravada Buddhism or Southern Buddhism. It is dominant in places like Sri Lanka, Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia, and Laos. The centrality of the teaching is the historical Buddha. The followers trace their origins back to Gautama Buddha. This school is generally conservative in nature and resists any change. The second school of thought is the Mahayana or greater vehicle or northern Buddhism. This arose mainly in around the 1st century CE. It offered a new path, a new philosophical and psychological assertion. It presented a different understanding of Buddha's teaching based on a body of scriptures which they claimed was undiscovered for centuries. This is more prominent in northern India, Tibet, Mongolia, China, and Japan. The Tantra form of Buddhism, or the Vajrayana, the diamond vehicle, is developed within the Mahayana Buddhism. It is known as Tantric Buddhism or Tantra after the texts known as Tantras. The teachings, meditative practices, and rituals were written down in a coded and a very complex language in texts called Tantras. It is also called Tibetan Buddhism because it was very popular in Tibet. It is referred to as Vajrayana or the diamond vehicle. There are 4 types of Tantras. Kriya or action Tantra. Here they put a lot of emphasis on physical activities such as rituals of purification. The Karya or performance Tantra, it strikes a balance between external activities and internal meditative stability. The Yoga Tantra is almost entirely concerned with inner spiritual union. The above 3 are called Mantrayana or ways of mantras. The 4th one is Anuttara Yoga. It is supposed to be the highest union. It is the most sublime Tantra of all and the most powerful spiritual practice. It is supposed to be very powerful because it can bring enlightenment in one lifetime. It is sometimes called Vajrayana. These Tantras, if people who know about Tantras in Hinduism, you will observe that they are very similar to the Tantras in Hinduism. Okay, let us now have a look at the pantheon of the Tantric form of Buddhism, which is prevalent in Leh and Ladakh. The main deity or god in Tantric form of Buddhism is Buddha Sakyamuni. Everyone know him as Gautama Buddha. He was born in 563 BCE in the Shakya tribe. There is a controversy regarding his date of birth, but conventionally it is accepted to be around 563 BCE. He is normally depicted with sitting on a Vajra seat with the left hand on his feet and the right hand held vertically. All Buddhists follow his teachings. His first teaching is known as the Dharma Chakra Parivartana. This scene is depicted on many monasteries and on the walls of many stupas. His teachings basically are what is called the 4 noble truths. The first one is life is a chain of suffering, meaning life will always have suffering. And suffering has a cause. Desire or craving is said to be the cause of all suffering. Remember it like a chemistry equation. Desire, arrow mark, leads to suffering. And if desire ceases, the suffering also ceases. That is the 3rd noble truth. And the 4th is the path leading to the cessation of suffering. This is called the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path or Athanga Marga, it consists of a number of interconnected activities which is related to knowledge, conduct and meditative practices. It includes right view, right thought called panna or wisdom, right speech, right action called Shila or moral living, right livelihood, right effort, right awareness, and right concentration called Samadhi or control of mind. Meditation is a very important aspect in Buddhism and is the key in achieving mental calm and insight. The Dhyani Buddhas are also known as the five wisdom Tathagatas or the five conquerors and are a common subject in Vajrayana Buddhist tradition. The Dhyani Buddha is the inner enlightened body of a Buddha. The Dhyani Buddhas represent different existential forces and are focus points for meditation on the path towards enlightenment. They also appear as symbolic images on Buddhist mandalas and can be used as a meditative tool. There are five Dhyani Buddhas. Let us have a look at all of them one by one. Vairochana. He is shown as seated in a gesture of preaching, both hands being held in a circular pattern in front of the breast. This is called the Dharma Chakra Mudra or the turning of the wheel of Dharma. He is shown seated on a throne of lion. In Sanskrit, Vairochana means luminous. Akshobhya. He is shown with a gesture of touching the earth called the Bhumi Sparsha Mudra. Finger of the right hand palm inward in order to call the earth goddess to witness the Buddha's fitness for enlightenment. He is seated on a throne of elephant depicted in blue normally. Ratna Sambhava. He is shown with a gesture of giving dhana. His right hand is held low with left open inwards. It is the Varada Mudra. He is shown seated on a throne of a horse and is usually depicted in yellow. Amoga Siddhi. He is shown in the gesture of fearlessness, the Abhaya Mudra, shown holding the right hand upwards with the palm outwards. He is shown seated on the throne of Garuda. He is normally depicted in dark green in color. Amitabha, shown with a gesture of Dhyana Mudra or the meditation mudra. He is shown meditating and seated on a throne of peacock, normally depicted in the color of red. People who are familiar with the Indian classical dance of Bharatanatyam will find these mudras very similar. Vajradhara. Vajradhara is a Sanskrit term which means holding a vajra or bearer of the thunderbolt. Vajradhara is a central figure in Tibetan Buddhism and represents the highest state of enlightenment. He is the Adi Buddha in the Gelug school of Tibetan Buddhism. Normally, he is depicted as dark blue. He is shown holding a vajra, a multi-pronged scepter, and a bell, which are common rituals implements in Tibetan Buddhism. Tantric Buddhism of the highest order is known as Mahamudra. Gautama Buddha is believed to have taught this doctrine in the form of Vajradhara. He manifested himself in various other deities to free people from samsara quickly. Numerous deities present, but a few important ones are Guhya Samaja, Chakra Samvara, and Kala Chakra. Let us have a look at each one of them in the next few slides. Chakra Samvara. Chakra Samvara is a powerful deity in the Vajrayana Buddhism. He is often depicted in an embrace with his consort Vajra Varahi. It represents the union of wisdom with compassion. This embrace gives you a wheel of supreme bliss. It's a very highly protective deity of the highest Tantra. This tantric deity has his teachings, his own pictorial guide to the heaven and a celestial palace, his own mantra and rituals. Guhya Samaja. He is a tantric deity and is looked upon as a master of secret. He is also shown with an embrace with his consort Vajra Varahi. He is a popular deity in Anuyoga Tantra. He is considered to be a mild deity and is dressed as a bodhisattva. This system of Tantra brought to Tibet by Marpa, the great translator. The subtle difference between Chakra Samvara and Guhya Samaja is that Guhya Samaja focuses on the illusionary body, while Chakra Samvara focuses on the clear light. Vajra Bhairava. He is a wrathful manifestation of Manjushri, the bodhisattva of wisdom. There are two forms in which he is depicted. One is the solitary form, and then the second is with the 13 deities of Vajra Bhairava. He is also called Yamantaka, or the destroyer of death. He is depicted with a buffalo head, many a times in embrace with his consort Vajravetali. He is also seen with many weapons in his hands. Kala Chakra. Kala Chakra is a deity who represents time and cycles. Kala Chakra in Sanskrit means wheel of time. He is depicted with 4 faces: black, white, red and yellow. He has a top knot and a half moon in his hair. He is shown with 24 hands holding a variety of weapons. He is depicted with his consort Vishwamata, who has 4 faces and 8 arms. He stands with his right leg outstretched, trampling Kamadeva, and under his left leg is Rudra, the forceful. The Kala Chakra Tantra was introduced in Tibet about 1062 CE. Kala Chakra is a meditational deity and followed by all sects in Tibet. Vajrasattva. Vajrasattva means a diamond being. He is shown seated on a Vajrasana, right hand supporting a Vajra near his heart, left hand holding a bell against his waist. He is normally depicted white in color. He is normally invoked for the atonement of sins. Maitreya Buddha. Maitreya Buddha is a bodhisattva and is called the future Buddha. He is shown with half-closed eyes, hands in the Dharma Chakra Mudra pose, shown seated in a chair ready to get up and come to the world. He is said to descend to the earth to teach Dharma or law when the teachings of Gautama Buddha have decayed. He currently resides in the Tushita heaven. Amitayas Buddha. He is the Buddha of longevity. His hands are in meditation gesture and there is a vase resting in his palms which contains the nectar of longevity. Hands are in the Dhyana Mudra. He is widely worshipped in Ladakh and Tibet. He is worshipped to prevent untimely death and for a long life. Eight medicine Buddhas are worshipped in Tantric Buddhism. Medicine Buddha demonstrates the power of healing. The eight medicine Buddhas are Buddha Sakyamuni, Vaishajya Guru. He holds a bowl in his left lap and with the right hand shows a twig of myrobalan, the symbol of the power of healing. Myrobalan, its botanical name is Terminolia cebula, which is native to the subcontinent. It contains a number of glycosides. It is used in Ayurveda preparations. Dharmakirti Sagara, Ashoka Uttamasi Raja, Svaragosa Raja, Abhigya Raja, Suyama Bhadra Vimala, Supari Kirti Tanama Sri Raja. These are the eight medicine Buddhas which are normally depicted in the Buddhist Tankas. In addition to the Buddhas, other deities like Bodhisattvas are depicted in the monasteries and in the Buddhist Tankas. Bodhisattva comes from the Sanskrit word Bodhi meaning awakening or enlightenment and Sattva meaning being. A person who is on the path of Buddhahood or Bodhi is called a Bodhisattva. There are many Bodhisattvas. Let us have a look at few of them. One of the main Bodhisattva in Buddhism is Avalokiteshvara. He is the chief Bodhisattva of the Mahayana Buddhism. He is a Lord who looks down upon us in compassion. He is shown seated in Vajrasana and has 4 arms. The central pair holds jewels. One arm, a rosary is present, and in one arm there is a white lotus. It is important to remember he is incarnated perpetually in each successive Dalai Lama of Tibet. It is to him the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum is recited. Manjushri is a Bodhisattva who is an embodiment of wisdom of all Buddhas. He was one of the disciples of Sakyamuni during his time. There are various forms of Manjushris. Wrathful Manjushri is called Vajra Bhairava. The right arm holds a sword to cut ignorance. Left hand holds a lotus on which the book of transcendental wisdom is present. Vajrapani. Vajrapani represents might and power of all Buddha. He has various representations. Om Vajrapani Hum is his mantra. He holds Vajra in his right hand. A Vajra is a symbol of strength and indestructibility. The left hand makes a Karuna Mudra. It is blue-black in color. He wears a tiger skin and has a snake coiled round his arms and feet. Tara is a female meditational deity with various forms. Is depicted with a pot of elixir in her right hand and the Utpala flowers in the left hand. Is said to be a giver of life and protector of people in danger. Many representations of Tara called green Tara, white Tara, red Tara, Chintamani Tara, Pravira Tara, so on and so forth have been depicted in the Tankas. In this Tanka, you can see a few of the Taras depicted. Arahat. The term Arahat comes from the Sanskrit word which means a person who has attained a state of nirvana or spiritual enlightenment. The 16 Arhats are the outstanding disciples of Buddha who spread the religion. They are believed to achieve final liberation or release from the cycle of rebirth at death. The 4 coordinal kings are protectors of Buddhism who guard the Dharma in the 4 directions of the world. They are Dhritarashtra, king of East, protects Dharma shown normally with a musical instrument. Virudaka is the king of West, guards the Dharma with a drawn sword, indicating to be a defender of faith. Virupaksha is the king of South. He is shown with a stupa in one hand and snake in the other. Vaisravana is the king of North and wealth. He is shown with a mongoose in the left hand and with gems pouring out of the mouth. He's got banner in his right hand. Dharmapalas. Dharmapalas are protectors of the Buddhist Dharma. There are 2 types of Dharmapalas: Lokapalas or worldly guardians and wisdom protectors called Jnanapalas. Many representations of the Dharmapalas like Mahakala, Dharmaraja, Sridevi, Vaisravana, Maharaja and others. They are depicted being ferocious and frightening. Let us have a look at a few of them. Sridevi or Palden Lamo. She is a protector of the Buddhist Dharma, is a manifestation of Saraswati and Tara, shown to be wearing skull ornaments and riding a mule. She has a vajra in her right hand and a skull cup in her left hand. Another Dharmapala is Mahakala. He has 75 manifestations and is the protector of religion, is a manifestation of Avalokiteshvara. Various Mahakalas like 6th arm Mahakala, white Chintamani Mahakala and 4-faced Mahakala have been depicted. Many historical figures have been depicted in the monasteries. A few of them are Naga Arjuna, Padmasambhava, Lotsava Rinchen Zangpo, Aisha, Milaraspa, Songchapa and many others. Let us have a look at a few of them. Padmasambhava. He is considered to be a great master of Tantra. He established the Nyingma school of Tibetan Buddhism. He is normally shown with his right hand in a Karana Mudra position holding a Vajra. The left hand is in a Dhyana Mudra holding a skull cap with ambrosio. Lotsava Rinchen Zangpo. He is called the Great Translator. He was born in 958 CE. He traveled to Kashmir where he did most of his studies. He translated the original Sanskrit work into Tibetan language. Over the years, he is credited with some of the most accurate translations of close to around 200 sacred Sanskrit sutras and tantras text into Tibetan. We owe him a great deal. He is also said to have constructed 108 viharas and thousands of stupas in North India. This ends the video on Pantheon of Tibetan Buddhism. I have just given a brief overview of the Pantheon. There is much which is not covered. It is for those interested to pursue reading further. Care has been taken to give information from authentic sources. Hope it has benefited you all. Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, Sangam Saranam Gacchami.
Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, Sangham Saranam Gacchami.